Yo, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I greatly appreciate you guys being here. In today's video, I'm going to be going over a Mortal Kombat 12 wishlist. So without further ado, let's break down all of these characters. Let's do this. Recently, I created a whole list of characters that haven't made it into the NRS trilogy, which is Mortal Kombat 9 to Mortal Kombat 11, players who only made it into one game, players who made it into two, and players who made it into all three. And then I added another column of players who I think are going to make it into Mortal Kombat 12. Wow, that ring light is so bright, dude. You can see circles everywhere every time I blink. Oh. Basically, like I said, I made a chart of players who made it into none of the Mortal Kombat NRS trilogy games yet, players who made it into only one, players who made it into two, and players who made it into three. And then on the final column is my Mortal Kombat 12 prediction. I don't know if I said wish list in the beginning. This should be a prediction video, not wish list. Basically, what I've noticed is every character that hasn't made it into the NRS trilogy yet are mostly the 3D era characters. So we have both Chameleons, Dairu, Darius, Reiko, Mavado, Hotaru, Mocap, Kai, Suhao, Cobra, Taven, Dagon, Lime, Natara, Kira, Serena, Motaro, Havoc, Drummond, Moloch, Meat, Kentaro, Onaga, and Blaze. Basically everybody from the 3D era, or mostly everyone from the 3D era, hasn't made it into the NRS Mortal Kombat trilogy yet. Then in the next column, these are players who only made it into one game so far, which is Ferrotor, Takeda, Kung Jin, Goro, Tanya, Tremor, Boraicho, Smoke, Shao Kahn, Frost, Geras, Collector, Cetrion, Fujin, Striker, and Shinnok. And I was very surprised, like I've said this every single time, that Takeda and Kung Jin didn't make it into Mortal Kombat 11. I thought that all the Kombat kids were going to make it into the next game, but I guess we're going to have to wait till Mortal Kombat 12. Then we have all the characters that made it into two games so far, which is Quan Chi, Aaron, Ermac, Kotal, Devora, Cassie, Jackie, Quan Chi, Cyrex, Sector, Cyber Sub-Zero, Cyber Smoke, Shang Tsung, Nightwolf, Noob Saibot, Baraka, Cabal, Jade, Scarlet, Shiva, Sindel, Rain, and Reptile. And this list includes DLC, so if they were included as DLC, they make it into the list as well. So as we can see, Quan Chi is under the 2 column because he was in Mortal Kombat 9 as DLC and he was on the default roster for Mortal Kombat X. Again, another shocker here that Ermac and Reptile didn't make it into MK11 due to the fact that they were shown in the crypt, which was really shocking to see, especially since Ermac had his own design. And I was very surprised that Shiva made it in twice, especially into Mortal Kombat 11. I assumed that Kentaro was going to make it. Since Kentaro was a part of Shang Tsung's fatality, I thought that was a little hint that he was going to come later on in the future. And we got Shiva in Mortal Kombat 9, Goro in Mortal Kombat X, so I just assumed that in Mortal Kombat 11, Kentaro was going to be the next guy up, but sadly he didn't make it, so fingers crossed that he makes it into Mortal Kombat 12. Then finally we have the column that characters that made it into all 3 NRS games, which is Kung Lao, Jax, Kano, Sonya, Johnny, Liu Kang, Kitana, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Molina, and Raiden, which is still quite a bit amount of characters that made it into all 3 NRS titles. And also another big shocker here that Molina made it into Mortal Kombat 11 as well. I personally would have preferred maybe Li Mei or Serena to take Molina's place, and the fact that Molina and Rain were both DLC characters after Rain was already a DLC character in Mortal Kombat 9 was just really mind-blowing to see. Now let's move on to the best part of this video, which is my Mortal Kombat 12 roster prediction. Just so you guys are aware, every character that's highlighted in green are characters that have appeared 3 times already in the NRS trilogy. Those that are in yellow appeared twice, those that are in blue appeared once, those that are in this like purple color appeared 0 times, and I'll explain why these kind of are mixed at the bottom at the end. So here we go. For the characters that made it 3 times already, I think in the future we're gonna get Kung Lao, Jax, Sonya, Johnny, Liu Kang, Kitana, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Raiden. If you look at this selection, we are missing 2 characters out of this list, and that is Kano and Molina. I don't think they're gonna bring back Kano, and I don't think they're gonna bring back Molina in the next roster. And if I'm being honest, I really don't think they're gonna bring back Jax either. They might replace him for Jackie, but I'm not too sure. Since it is the 30th year anniversary, they might want to have all the original characters, so maybe Kano might return. Honestly, I'm not too sure, but I feel like Kano's time has been up. He's been through all of the games already. I think it might be time for him to sit out one game, as well as Jax. The reason why I said Molina was because it didn't really seem like she was gonna make it into Mortal Kombat 11 to begin with, and maybe she was just squeezed in there at the last second as the DLC character. So I think that she won't make it into the next Mortal Kombat game since she's already been from Mortal Kombat 9 to Mortal Kombat 11. Don't think they're going to bring her back. They might bring in other female characters such as Li Mei, Serena, or Natara. Moving on to the characters that have made it 2 times already, we have Quan Chi, Eren, Ermac, Kotal, Cyrex, Sector, Shang Tsung, Nightwolf, Noob Saibot, Baraka, Cabal, Jade, Scarlet, Sindel, Rain, and Reptile. And out of this list, I took out D'Vorah, Cassie, Jackie, Cyber Sub, Cyber Smoke, and Shiva. I don't think either the Cyber Sub and the Cyber Smoke, I don't think any of those cyborgs are going to make a return. I think they already were like these cool kind of characters that we got to play as in Mortal Kombat 9 and in Mortal Kombat X, so I don't think we're going to get them again. If they do bring back Smoke, it will probably be his human version, which I have listed later on in the video, but I don't think they're going to bring back his cyborg version. The reason why I left out Cassie and Jackie is because they were in Mortal Kombat 11, as well as Kung Jin and Takeda didn't make it into Mortal Kombat 11. It seemed like they kind of split the combat kids in half, 2 make it into Mortal Kombat 11 and maybe 2 make it into Mortal Kombat 12. So if that's the way they're going, I don't think Cassie and Jackie are going to make it into the Mortal Kombat 12 game. And the reason for D'Vorah, I think, is because the community is mixed 50-50 on her character, and because they made her kill off all the main characters. They killed off Scorpion, Baraka, Molina. So I think the fans are kind of done with her killing off all the main characters, and she just might not have any use in Mortal Kombat 12 story, so they might not bring her back in the future of Mortal Kombat. I also left out Shiva because of the fact that she did make it into Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat 11, and like I said before, I think they're going to bring in Kintaro or Goro over Shiva. And like I said previously, since we were hinted at Ermac and Reptile in Mortal Kombat 9's The Crypt, I do think they have a very high probability of making it into Mortal Kombat 12. What I've noticed between Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11 is that they only have brought in 4 ninjas for each game. So in Mortal Kombat X, it was Scorpion, Sub, Ermac, Reptile, and then in Mortal Kombat 11, it was Scorpion, Sub, Noob, and Rain. So 4 for each game. I don't think they're going to do it this time for the 30th year anniversary. They might bring in every single ninja. Of course, not all of them are going to make it onto the default roster. Some of them might be DLC, but I do think they're probably going to bring in Scorpion, Sub-Zero, maybe Ermac since he already had a design in the Crypt, and then they might bring in Reptile as a DLC and might throw in Smoke as the default. So it might be Smoke, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Ermac as the 4 default ninjas. Mark my words on that. I'm putting it in. Mark my words. Moving on to characters that have only made it into 1 game so far, we have Takeda, Kung Jin, Tanya, Tremor, Boraicho, Smoke, the human version of course, Shao Kahn, Fujin, and Striker. And if we scroll back up to the very top and see all of the characters that only made it into 1 NRS title, I took out Ferrator, Goro, Frost, Geras, Collector, Cetrion, and Shinnok. Not that many people from my knowledge really play Ferrator in Mortal Kombat X or really enjoyed playing Ferrator. I mean, of course, there was some big damage combos that Ferrator can do, but I just don't think the community really liked that character too much. And honestly, I don't see why they would have any point in Mortal Kombat 12's plot in the future. The reason why I didn't add in Goro is because of the fact that I think they should really add in Kintaro. Since we already got Shiva and Goro, I think it's Kintaro's time to shine. He was already teased in Shang Tsung's fatality in Mortal Kombat 11, so might as well throw him into the next game. I didn't add in Frost because of the fact that I think they're gonna replace more female characters with the 3D era ones or players we haven't seen before, such as Li Mei, Serena, Natara, maybe even Kira as well. And I just realized I didn't add Ashra on this list, so Ashra hasn't made it into any NRS titles as well, so they might even throw in Ashra as a female character for Mortal Kombat 12. I think Mortal Kombat 12's roster would be the perfect place for all of the 3D era female characters to shine, and especially some male 3D era characters, but there hasn't been that many female 3D era characters that made it into any Mortal Kombat games, and there's a lot of potential. So I think it would be a perfect time for Mortal Kombat 12 to implement all of these 3D era characters, especially the female 3D era characters, into the roster. I don't think it would make any sense for Geras to make it into the future of Mortal Kombat since he was just a servant to Kronika, so it wouldn't really make any sense to have him in the future of Mortal Kombat, especially Mortal Kombat 12. I do think Collector has a chance, but I'll explain that later on, so I'm going to skip over him for now. But Cetrion, I don't think they're going to bring back, especially if they do bring back a new character in the game, they might go with a male Elder God instead of a female Elder God, just because it could switch it up now that they're bringing Elder Gods into the picture. And then finally, Shinnok. I don't think Shinnok will make a return. I don't think it would make any sense for him to make a return, especially if they go off of Shang Tsung's ending. It just wouldn't make any sense to have another big bad into the mix of the roster. Maybe he will appear as a character to fight in a challenge tower, but I don't think he'll make it in as a playable character in the roster. Finally, moving on to characters that haven't made it into any NRS title whatsoever, we have Li Mei, Serena, Havoc, and Kentaro. These 4 characters I think are the top 4 most likely to make it into the Mortal Kombat 12 roster. Li Mei and Serena were already teased in the Mortal Kombat X story, so I think it makes perfect sense for them to be in the Mortal Kombat 12 roster, and I was very shocked that they didn't make it into Mortal Kombat 11. Both Havoc and Kentaro were already teased in the NRS Mortal Kombat trilogy already, one more than other, which is Havoc. Havoc has been teased heavily in the Mortal Kombat NRS trilogy already, so I think it would make sense for him to make it into the Mortal Kombat 12 roster, especially Kentaro as well. Not saying that I don't want to see any of the other 3D era characters make it on this list. They definitely might take out some of these characters that are in the blue or the yellow. I don't think they'll take any characters out from the green, but definitely the yellow or the blue. They could definitely add in maybe Hotaru, Mavado, Reiko, or Ashura. I think those 4 characters definitely have a solid chance of making it and replacing one of the characters in yellow or the characters in blue. I think that these 4 are probably the most likely to make it into the game. All right, now let's move on to these final, let's see, 6 characters that I have listed. So it's Jackie, Cassie, Quan Chi, Collector, Natara, Frost, and I'll definitely add in like Ashura and the other 4 3D era characters that I listed just previously. Basically, I added in Jackie, Cassie because they might throw in all combat kids into the mix of the Mortal Kombat 12 roster. I'm not too sure. It just kind of has me confused why Takeda and Kung Jin didn't make it into Mortal Kombat 11, and they kind of split them 50-50. So it makes you think that Jackie and Cassie won't make it into the new roster, but they also might, since it is the 30th year anniversary, they might just throw in every single combat kid. Then we have Quan Chi. I feel like Quan Chi has a high opportunity of making it, and he might honestly replace any of the characters in blue or any of the characters in yellow. I don't think Stryker will be replaced at all. I think Stryker probably has 100% probability of making it into Mortal Kombat 12 since he was teased in Mortal Kombat X and he was in the Mortal Kombat 9 roster. So I do think he has a high probability of making it into Mortal Kombat 12. So he is pretty safe. But for the other characters, I'm not too sure. They might be replaced by Quan Chi, Jackie, or Cassie, especially Collector, Natara, Frost, and the other 3D era characters that I mentioned previously. I added in Collector because of the fact that he was probably one of the more probable or stronger characters to make it into the Mortal Kombat 12 roster, since they might just drop Geras and drop Cetrion or replace Cetrion for a new player like a male Elder God possibly. So I think Collector probably has the highest probability of making it into the next roster. And then the same thing kind of goes for Natara and Frost. Natara is one of those 3D era characters that everyone is kind of hoping to make it into the next Mortal Kombat game or really wanted in Combat Pack 3. So I do think she has a probability of making it into the game. I'm just not too sure how they're going to incorporate her playstyle and move style, especially since she's a vampire and has wings. Maybe they might do something like how they had Spawn fly around. They might do that with Natara, but I do think that the 4 characters that I listed above have a greater chance of making it in rather than Natara. The reason why I added Frost was because she only made it into one NRS title so far, which is Mortal Kombat 11. She was teased in Mortal Kombat X and then made it into Mortal Kombat 11, which is awesome, but there's just some part of me that's thinking they're gonna go the route of adding in new female characters that we haven't seen before, such as the 3D era characters that I listed previously. So it just kind of got me torn between, is she gonna make it? Is she not gonna make it? I'm not too sure. But let me know in the comment section below, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you agree with my Mortal Kombat 12 roster prediction? And if you don't, what character would you like to see make it into Mortal Kombat 12? If you guys are new, welcome. It's great to see you. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and leave a like as well. Follow me on my Instagram page at The Island Boys. And if you guys are returning, welcome. It's great to see you guys. And hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Shoots.